Hi, this is the video we will make for Jung. I want you to understand that it is very hard to upload everything in Prezi. It's too strong, and really I prefer to use this way, upload the video in the Prezi. So I want you to understand that Carl Jung, this is Carl Jung at older age, was a friend and confidant of Freud. And this is Freud at a younger age, and this is Jung. And this was the circle of the psychoanalysis in Vienna in 1913. Up to 1913, Jung was the successor of Freud's theory. And Freud was, as you will read in the notes, a father figure for Jung. But they were completely different personalities, and they had completely different beliefs. And Jung didn't believe as much as Freud in the impact of sex. So really, he follows parts of Freud's theory, but he came up with his own different conceptions on personality. And you need to understand that we must mention Jung because Freud has lapsed, but Jung's theories have been continued by those from the humanistic conception that believe in self-actualization. Jung is the one who first started, and again his theories and his ideas were picked up by the people who believe in the traits conception personality, because they continue the thread Jung started, which is called traits. Jung is the first who spoke about extrovert and introvert. So this is the theory of Jung. As Freud believed in three levels of consciousness, you remember, conscious, preconscious, and subconscious. Jung believes that these three levels of conscious are the ego, which is the conscious level that carries the daily activities. It is like Freud's conscious, but Jung calls it ego. And he mentioned something about personal unconscious. Remember the thread, I'm coming later in the continuity of this video to explain this in detail. This is a small introduction. So the personal unconscious as contrasting to a collective unconscious. Remember the word as well. So this personal conscious is individuals' thoughts, memories, wishes, impulses. It's a combination of both preconscious and unconscious of Freud. So this conscious, preconscious, and subconscious of Freud, they are here given as ego and personal conscious, and Jung is contributing something extra, which is called collective unconscious. This collective unconscious is the storehouse of memories that they are common throughout all humanity, and they are inherited from our common ancestors, and it is a part of the culture of the whole human race. This is not a similar thing in Freud's theory. This is the unique contribution Jung. Collective unconscious, he called it mandala. Remember that. So let's discuss the collective unconscious. Inside the collective unconscious, we're going to discuss it later in detail. There are the archetypes, which are emotionally charged images, and they have the same universal meaning. Remember we said about these archetypes, could be the priest, the healer, the teacher, the mother, the warrior. The archetypes cause us to respond in certain ways to common human experience. So mother has to be always caring. And the key archetype, or the magic circle, is the mandala, which is symbolizing the unity of life. And the mandala is something that it's common in many cultures. There are cultures who draw this kind of mandala, and these are drawings Let's see what Jung, in his Memories, Dreams, and Reflections talk, tells us about mandala. These are his words. I had to abandon the idea of the superordinate position of the ego. I saw that everything, all paths I had been following, all steps I had taken were leading back to a single point, namely to the midpoint. This is the midpoint. Everything brings to the center. It became increasingly plain to me that the mandala is the center. It is the exponent of all paths. It is the path to the center, to individuation. Remember, individuation, when somebody is finding himself, when somebody is finding his individual. I knew that in findings the mandala as an expression of the self, I had attained what was for me the ultimate. So when he found mandala and he theorized, he said that mandala is the expression of the self, then he managed to find everything. Now, additional archetypes, and we're going to discuss again about mandala and the self, and we're going to say when mandala is coming. Persona, your public personality. We're going to discuss in detail about persona, the shadow, and uh, the fear of wild animals. It presents the animal side of human nature, all our instincts, all the bad things we are. It's our alter ego. Anima is the feminine archetype in men, so the feminine side, and the animus is the masculine side in a woman. I want you to understand that we're going to discuss in detail. These are the four important characteristics, and all the others they're there: God, hero, nurturing mother, wise old man, wicked witch, devil, powerful father, and all these are creating an orientation to personality, which is the basic personality orientation or attitude. And this attitude, according to Freud, can be introversion or extroversion. Introversion means that the person is focused inward, the cautious, shy, timid, reflective, and extroversion when the person is focused outward, his locus of identity is outside of himself, so it's outgoing, sociable, assertive, energetic. And this is what I want us to stop there. So let's continue the recording. We need to discuss about this collective unconscious, and that's a little bit better slide. So the collective unconscious, according to Jung, has, I don't know why I can't continue. So the collective unconscious has archetypes. So these archetypes are common in all the people, all the cultures, all the time. But what really you need to understand is that ego and personal unconscious are dealing with complexes, not the true archetype, but the combination of characteristics that they are imitations of the archetype, and they have around them characteristics that they create each one of them, some more, some less. I want you to remember that at this stage psychology becomes philosophy. At this stage Jung is continuing the theory of Plato. Plato used to believe that we are humans are the shadow of creatures that they are living in a cave somewhere else, the cave of the soul in antiquity. So he is following that thread. And we discussed in the past the most important archetype is the persona. Persona is what we bring to ourselves. The archetype of persona is the instinct to be likable, to be conforming socially, the desire to do what the peers want us to do. This way, the persona is the complex where the person is putting any mask the others want him to put. So it's a personality we show to the others. It's our social self. At home, I could be different. What's the anima? I hope you remember. The anima and the animus, they are Latin words for soul. In Latin, again, animus and anima. Anima is the female ending of soul. So it is the female part of the male. So the male, as an archetype, has a specific behavior. He cannot accept to behave in a womanized or female, feminine way. So all the feminine instincts in that archetype are represented with the anima. It's the feminine side. In the past, when Jung was working, back in the 60s, the men had to be men, macho men, all this stuff. In this century, with the help of psychology, the men are picking up different roles, but still they are considered as the um, protectors, and sometimes they pick up this role. So uh, all aspects of a male's personality consider contrasexual against his um, male gender are the animal, again the female part. The caring part, the man who cries in time of crisis. This is the anima. The animus is the opposite. Animus again is a male ending, so the animus is all the female's image of what is a male, and they're all the female's instincts that they drive a woman to masculinity. So sometimes women can be warriors, okay? They have to be fighters. This is part of their animus. So all the aspects of female's personality consider contrasexual against their characteristic other animus. For example, in the war, the women, they had to behave and act like a man. And we used to say, she's acting like a man. And this is because the complex of a personality has that characteristic. It is there until it emerges. Shadow now, or alter ego, is whatever we choose not to be. A person's most primitive and basic instincts, or the bad side, the dark side of us, okay, the dark animal side, is our shadow. I want you to remember that concept of the shadow, of the good hero and the bad hero, the Darth Vader as the father of the good hero, the Luke Skywalker, and how the dark side is trying to lure him. This is a concept of the shadow. Whereas all aspects of personality, seen as other and rejected, is the shadow. It's things we choose not to be. And the self is the best of the basic archetypes, is the instinct to seek unity, wholeness, integration with the universe, get the mandala, self-actualize. And this complex, how we present ourselves, is uh, our true personality, who we are. And I want you to understand that self is a big complex and integrates all the other complexes and then makes us who we are, leads us to what Jung said he found to be his mandala, the individuation, to become individual. And how can you do that? When you have your persona, your animus and your shadow, and this is the characteristic. So you have to fight all these together, combined, lead to the next step of individuation. When they blend together again, it is called the transcendent function, where all this persona, animus and shadow we have developed are coming into the self and make us who we really are. So this is the self-actualization according to Jung. And this is what the humanistic approach picks up later. When we find our true self, we have done everything. Jung also has uh, discussed about other characteristics of the personality, attributes, we discussed them, and functions. But before we go there, I want you to remember the story, and we're going to discuss it with the video we're going to watch. Luke Skywalker is the bright light side, and he's fighting the dark side. Lucas, when he made this, he really um, had Jung in mind, because Luke Skywalker fights the dark self. He's scared that he will become like this, and that's why he's fighting. And the Force is with him when he's fighting that. Okay? And this is his dream. This is his bad dream. He thinks that he's one of them, and he is scared that he will become the dark side. And we're going to watch it in the video and see how it works. He's the warrior. He has all the archetypes of Jung. Let's discuss about the other stages of development according to Jung. I want you to understand that Jung has taken sex away and aggression away from everything. Remember, he is a priest's son. So, according to Jung, the stages of development are the childhood, from birth to adolescence. All this is called childhood. The young adulthood, from adolescence to 40. And then the middle age, from 40 to 65. He was way ahead from his time. Young adulthood is until 40. Middle age and 65 until the end of the life, old age. And in these stages of development, Jung never put any sex drive or anything else. But he has discovered 4 functions of the way humans can work. It's the rational and irrational function. The rational function contains thinking and feeling, and the irrational component, or non-rational, includes sensing and intuiting. Thinking, it's a logical. Feeling has something with the senses, whereas sensing means being sensual. Okay, and intuiting means having intuition. This is not logical, but they're still happening. At the same time, I want you to understand that in the conscious and unconscious axis, he sees the primary and auxiliary functions, and thinking is rational, and also in the conscious mind, the feeling is still rational. I hope you understand that thinking is how we behave, and feeling is what happens inside. And non-rational at the same time is to have intuition. Because I'm thinking, I'm translating some things, I have gut feelings, that intuition, but it's not rational, it's non-rational. At the same time, feeling, living with my feelings, is a rational component, but sensing is non-rational. Okay, and sometimes when I have the sensing as a non-rational component, at the same time I have intuiting or intuition, and then in that parameter, secondary functions for this person could be the feeling and the thinking. So Jung has made 8 types of personality based on the thinking, the feeling, the sensing, and intuiting, and he put in these 4 factors or 4 functions his 2 attributes or attitudes. The one's the extrovert, that can be a thinker, feeling, sensing, or intuiting, and the introvert that has the saying. Let's see how he has worked on them. Now, an extrovert thinker, one type. Objective, cold, lives according to the fixed rules. Positive, dogmatic in thinking, and he is suppressing or repressing his feelings because he thinks that he's illogical. Now, an extroverted who is a feeler, who is feeling, he is more emotional, he has respect for authority and tradition, he likes being social, he seeks harmony with the world, and he's not thinking logically. Okay, as much. Probably things have changed. There are other in between situations, but this is how he saw his ideas. Now, extrovert who is sensing is the party person, the pleasure seeking, the socially adaptive, seeks no sensory experiences, sensual pleasures that cannot be related to sex, could be art and food. He's realistic and he is repressing intuition. In the other states, he decides, the extrovert who has intuition decides based on hunches rather than facts. He's changeable, he's creative, he moves from idea to idea rapidly. He is familiar with his unconscious. He has his senses repressed. He doesn't uh, live in the real world, let's say. Let's see how things work for the introvert. The introvert thinker has an intense desire for privacy. He is socially inhibited with poor practical judgment. Um, he's an intellectual, ignores practical life, and he is repressing feeling. Uh, this is not actually a true model because the introvert thinker could be someone who is feeling as well. So the introvert feeler is quiet, thoughtful, sensitive. Sometimes he's childish, indifferent to feelings, it says, thoughts of the others. Um, doesn't express emotions, and he has repressed his logic because he is caring. He is focused on feeling. The next one is introverted and sensing. He's artistic. He's passive. He's calm. He can be by himself, detached from people, rolls with flow of events. And the last part, he's eccentric, daydreamer, strange ideas. He can't be understood by others. He's like a dream walking on the clouds. He's caring little about their opinion. He has a sensing suppressed. So I want you to remember, now we've done this, that Jung's types have created his typology. This is his typology. Based on this, they have made personality tests. And really, they are so generic types that we cannot accept them. And he has started by this way the tradition of traits in personality. Based on this, Allport, Cattell, Eysheng, and the others are going to make the traits in personality, and you will see similarities there. Thank you.